Right, welcome to this week's episode of Work the Left Side. I am here with Mr. Joe Wade, the Goth Boy. Either on his own, you will have seen him tearing it up, or as part of Misery Business. The man is just absolutely smashing it at the minute. So thank you for joining us, dude.
No, man, thank you for having me.
Pretty much as I've just said, you seem to be popping up, all over the shop at the minute. Like I say, man, you're tearing it up in singles, but then also, I think I put on socials a couple of weeks ago. Misery Business is generally one of my favourite tag teams at the moment. Obviously, I spoke a while ago. You two guys, man, you just got awesome chemistry. How are you finding it? How well? Are you just loving doing what you're doing at the minute?
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, I didn't really know quite how to feel about tag team wrestling because I was never really thrown in one, and I always just kind of did singles. And I knew of Alan and we'd spoken before, but I was kind of don't really know how to feel about this. And people will tell you I wasn't too keen on the idea to start with, but once we had that first match, I was like, yeah, man, this is fun. This is definitely gonna work. Everyone calls him my dad, so that's fun. And then we've only gotten more and more chemistry as the matches have gone on, and the bookings have they've come through, and then we did our first live one in front of the crowd, and they seem to really enjoy it, and people seem to get behind us. So I think it's cool, man.
That's it. I mean, especially because you kind of really, on paper, you should be like a heel tag team, but I do think you work that well together. Then the chemistry, it's very hard to not appreciate and not to cheer, kind of thing. I'll say, and obviously, you probably got a few more boos last time because you was against Nash Boat, and you're like the heel team out the two of you, kind of thing. But even though, man, it's just watching you guys move around the ring. I think, as I've just mentioned, Nash Boat, that must have just been just a fun match.
Yeah. I think the idea was for us to be disliked, but I don't know. I guess Alan's just too likable, and especially when we're in Sheffield, they all got behind him, so we just kind of run with it. I guess we just don't like to be like, face and heel. We're just a team, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And depending on who we're against, decides on whether or not people like us, I guess. Nashboat was it was fun, man. Honestly, those matches are such a breath of fresh air when you're doing a bunch of, I guess, serious.
Yeah.
Not to say that it was, but those type of guys. It was just definitely out of my comfort zone, but I enjoyed it. It was fun.
I think when those two came out, and I think Alan saw what Ace was wearing, I think it's one of the first times I've seen Alan break character. He just kind of you saw him just try not smile, and I was just like, oh Jesus.
Yeah, I have the mask on, so it was all right. And then the hair comes in the face, and it's fine. Nobody can see. But yeah, when we first got there, and they were like, "We've got this inflatable duck," and I can't remember what else he had. It might have been a turtle or something. I was like, right, okay, cool.
Set the tone.
Let's go. And I've known Nash ages, so. But yeah, first time working both of them. Yeah. I've never been in the ring with either of them, so good experience.
Well, definitely, dude. And like you sort of said, the whole sort of, you were primarily, just, the Goth Boy Joe Wade, tearing up in Tidal, as an example. The amount of people I've spoken to that do singles and do tags, have kind of a very similar experience where, they did this kind of wanted to concentrate on singles, ended up doing tag, but then thoroughly enjoyed tag because it's a different dynamic. You get to sort of tell different stories.
Yeah, for sure. And you can do way more with a tag match than you can do with the singles, really. A good tag match will always be better than a good singles match just because of the different aspects. You got hot tags and stuff, and cool tag team stuff that it's just cooler to do than a singles match most of the time. But it's all about finding that perfect fit because everyone in the business has just been flung with somebody and going, you two team together, and you're like, okay. And, you know, people can very clearly tell it's like, oh, it's two singles wrestlers.
Yeah.
On the same
That's
team.
the thing. I think you guys don't sort of look like that. You kind of like I said, you work brilliantly by yourself, but when you're Misery Business as well, though, it doesn't look like two singles guys put together. You actually look like a unit kind of thing, because you've got what I would call the classic tag team dynamic of speed and strength.
Yeah, exactly. And it's easy to work with that because it's just, hey, you pick them up and I'll kick them. It's, yeah. Like, coming up with tag team stuff was pretty easy because, like I said, it was just you throw them and I'll kick them, I guess.
That's it. Alan just throws them around and you can either kick them or just jump off the top or do what you do kind of thing.
Yeah, man, for sure.
So obviously, singles as well. You know, that's the good stuff. So like I said, man, you've been tearing it up at, I've mentioned True Grit, obviously Tidal is another promotion. Any Tidal fans out there will obviously be welcome, affirmed of your appearances there. And obviously Pursuit, you seem to be expanding. I say this to a lot of guys. I've talked to a lot of guys from Pursuit recently, and you all sort of seem to be expanding your radius of, you know, bookings and stuff. You just kind of like riding the wave at the minute. Yeah,
man. For sure. Like, I just did North past weekend, and well, that's me teaming with another lad that I enjoy teaming with, and I'm kind of, I guess, used to tag team wrestling now. I was trying to think about the last time I had a singles match, and it was a long time ago. But yeah, like, I hope Tidal fans, excited to see me because I've been there years. So even after the whole like rerun and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember being at Tidal when I was like 17 years old, and crazy to what it is now compared to what it was back then. But yeah, I enjoy the Tidal matches though. You know, they're like, I get to work as a singles wrestler, but it's often thrown into, you know, some sort of multi-man or something, and they're just, again, you've got more aspects to work with, so
yeah,
it can be more fun than a singles match.
You say fun, but I'm guessing they're kind of also a bit harder because you'll have certain, you know, moments to hit and things to do, you know, to lead into the next part. There's more dominoes in a multi-man match, I would have thought.
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, it's just something you've got to be aware of. But as long as you know, like, your cues and stuff, and you can, I guess, wrap your head around it, it's not as complicated as some people think.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, because to me, I'm just kind of like that. But again, I suppose, you know, there's different areas. You know, if you've got a good referee, you know, there's different this, that, and the other. It can all go quite smoothly, and it just looks boss. You know, afterwards, kind of thing. It just looks a little bit better. Because I think I was talking to somebody that's like a diehard Tidal fan. I said, oh, and I've got talking to Joe Wade. You know, soon. It's like, oh, yeah, you know, saw him with Tidal. I think they sort of said it was like a 6-man match that you was in Tidal at some point.
Yeah, that was the last Tidal I was on.
Yeah, so obviously, yeah, man, you remembered fondly. So, you know, obviously, next time you're there, you know, you'll be appreciated.
Fingers crossed. And again, it's same with like Misery Business. It's like I come out and people are like, do we boo this guy? Do we cheer this guy? I'm not kind of sure. So
yeah, I think you're definitely one of those tag teams, which is awesome because, you know, it fits really well on any cards. That, as you said earlier, depending on who you're against,
yeah,
you can have cheered or booed. You know, so, and I'm guessing you guys will sort of, if you guys sense that you're being booed, you'll kind of turn it a little bit so you work more heel. Would you embrace the boos and work a more heel style?
Yeah, I think so. Either that or like just wouldn't care either way, you know. Like I know Alan would for sure like turn up that intensity a little bit because it's like, oh well, they're biting on this, so might as well give them something to bite on.
Nice. I think as well, obviously, if memory serves me correct, sorry man, I'm currently in the middle of moving house, so I kind of like to, you know, I get thinking in my head at the minute, but then my head's a shed at the minute. But I'm pretty certain you've been announced for first Pursuit. Are you in a fatal 4-way?
Nah, me versus Vusic.
Vusic, that's it. Sorry.
Yeah.
I just know I think there's a lot of Joes in one match. I thought it was all. There's a lot of Jays in one match. I thought I just automatically went to you. So you versus Vusek, man. That's going to be a clash of styles, but a very good one.
Yeah, don't worry about it. There's just a lot of Joes in wrestling in general. It's the thing apparently. Yeah, like really, really looking forward to that. We had our first match. We had just an in-house at the Pursuit facility in-house training show. And man, that was so fun. We just kicked the shit out of each other. It was great, and I love I love strong style wrestling and stuff like that. You know, like you hit me, I'll hit you. We'll just go for it, and then he'll choke me out because he's good at that sort of stuff, and I can't do anything about that, I guess.
Yeah, but you've always got the speed to counter because it's probably better strikes. Again, it's kind of strikes against speed. That's the best way I would kind of summarize it. But obviously, I was lucky enough to speak to him a few weeks ago, and it's just generally like I'm just like I wouldn't want to fuck with that guy. He looks like he's scared.
You see him and you're like, oh yeah, nice dude or whatever. And then when he's across that ring from you and he's putting his gum shield in, and I'm like, damn, that's a scary dude right there. But yeah, I've got nothing but good things to say about Vusek. Yeah, he's killing it at the moment, and yeah, I'm very excited for it because it'll be my first singles match in months. In fact, I think he was my last singles match, and that was months ago. So
that's crazy to me. I always kind of think of you as like 50-50 booking kind of thing, half singles, half tag team kind of thing. But I suppose it kind of comes in dips and dabs. You might find after this match, you get a shed load of singles bookings, and then obviously barring the True Grit tag team ladder title match that you've got coming up. But then you'll probably get a spell of tag team matches, then a spell of singles. But yeah, I still think of you as primarily as a singles wrestler.
Yeah, for sure, man. And like I try and think of myself as that, and I don't think the tag team stuff's gonna necessarily go away as much because I've still got a True Grit and a North there on me and Kessler, who are again great guy. But any singles match, I'd happily take the opportunity because I don't know, I like just wrestling by myself sometimes.
That's it, man. It's just nice to do something different every now and again, isn't it? It's just it keeps it fresh. Lets you try new things. But yeah, you just mentioned North. I love North Form. I've never actually had the pleasure of attending a show, but I've watched the matches on YouTube a lot. And I don't think watching the matches on YouTube will do it justice. I can just imagine, the atmosphere there being like just fucking electric. Just a bunch of Geordies and some more people just getting rowdy, watching a load of wrestling. How did you find working North? Yeah,
man, North's great. I love North. Like they just kill it every show. Like it's just insane. Like I wasn't on it, but I had the pleasure of being able to go to the Walker Dome one that they did. Leon versus Liam, and dude, that was insane. Like probably the loudest I've heard a crowd in person, except like barring when I went to WWE as a kid or whatever. But just the atmosphere and like backstage is lovely. Like everyone's super chill. It's super cool. And like North was my goal for a long time, so to finally be getting pretty consistently on there is really good.
That's awesome, man. Because I know a lot of people, that I've talked to, especially like I said, the you guys from Pursuit. Like you sort of say, you got like your True Bits, your Tidals, Rise. They're like the more closer promotions to tick off, and then everybody said North. That seems to be like everybody's kind of being pulled north. Pun intended, being pulled up north. So
for sure, man. Like one to definitely, like if you're a fan or if you're a wrestler, like one to definitely get yourself down to because they're just killing it at the moment.
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, I've just mentioned True Grit. You obviously got Planet Wrestle as well in Leeds.
Yeah.
But again, it's all you Pursuit guys. You just seem to be sort of taking over. Like Yorkshire is becoming the house of Pursuit kind of thing.
Yeah, like the last North show we just did this past weekend, it was like something like 7 of the 9 matches or something was somebody from Pursuit, which is just it's just amazing to see that we're all just killing it. You know what I mean? And Pursuit's like the best thing because honestly, like just in terms of like the training facility itself and people who go there and like just the atmosphere that we've created, it's so fucking cool, man. I love it.
Well, we'll talk about not Pursuit really, but just the character. The Goth Boy Joe Wade.
Yeah,
Obviously, a lot of guys I've spoken to recently, there seems to be a lot more focus on characters now, or kind of putting some sort of aspect of the character into your persona.
yeah, for sure.
So obviously, yeah, I mean, obviously, Joe Wade. Is it just you turn up to 11? Is it you turn up to 15? Is it just still in development? Is there more to come? Are you kind of still evolving the character?
Right. So basically, long story short, like early Joe Wade was, and me in person was, Will Ospreay wannabe. I'm going to be a high flyer. I'm going to do all the flips. I've got the Union Jack on my tights because that's cool. I, just all that stuff, and like as cool as that is, like nobody wants that sort of thing. And like I never understood like character, like in terms of like, oh, you need a character. I was like, I don't get it. Anyway, then lockdown happens, and then me myself, like, I start becoming a bit more alternative, and the way I dress, like my hair, like stuff like that. And then I guess I just brought it into wrestling. I was looking at guys like Jeff Hardy, obviously, like the early iterations of Goth Boy were like Jeff Hardy, Darby Allin type, just like emo wrestlers, and like nobody was doing it at the time. And then obviously there's a bunch of inspiration from like music, like very heavily like Little Peep inspired, and like I wore the fishnets because Youngblood wore it, and I was like, yeah, nobody's doing that, so I guess that'll make me stand out. And then it was in its like early development, and like I was starting to figure it out, but not quite there because I was still kind of wrestling the same way I used to, just dressed as a different, dressed as Goth Boy. But I think slowly I'm getting there. Like I got the new, because I became very inspired by like striking and wrestling. Watched a lot of Noah. I'm a big Malachi, Alistair Black fan. Like, yeah, dude's fucking sick, right? I love Kenta. Just any type of cool striking and wrestling. And I'm a big fan of like Muay Thai and just striking in general. So that then became into the character and fit so well because you can be like, oh, I don't give a shit. Like, I'm so fed up, and kick someone. And it makes way more sense than, oh, I don't give a shit, but look at this twisty flip.
Yeah.
People are like, well, okay. And like, I try and throw some stuff in there now, but it's much easier to just hit people. So, yeah, I'd say we're getting there. Like, obviously the character's going to evolve, but I'm as comfortable with it now as I ever have been, which is always a positive.
Yeah, definitely, man, definitely. But obviously, yeah, you want to be happy where it is now. But obviously, yeah, you kind of, I can imagine the brain's still ticking over and be like, hang on a minute, I could probably, maybe if I do this, yeah, it's constantly like, it's evolving, basically. You're a Pokemon and you ain't reached full evolution yet. So, you go from Goth Boy to Goth Man to Goth God.
Goth God, yeah. Absolutely. That's the ultimate goal, isn't it?
That's a t-shirt right there, man, I'm telling you.
Hey.
So, but yeah, and obviously, I said it's quite uniquely timed, but I mean, you must be kind of looking at Scotty Walker as well and being like, oh, you fucker. You kind of like very sort of like, he's doing the Black Mass. You mentioned Malachi Black, and obviously I love the Black Mass as a finishing move. And then obviously, Scotty's doing it as well. And it's like, I think you two as a tag team boss. Just put it out there, by the way. Not to put you in another tag team, but
2 emo kids, yeah. Fair play. I mean, in fairness to Scotty, he did it first, so I'm the copy, I guess. But I like to think that, like, you put us both together, like, there's still clear differences, like his character is very like, let's go guys, like super like into it, whereas I'm just kind of, blasé, whatever, don't give a shit. But yeah, I've heard it, like people come up to us and talk to about like similarities, and we both paint our nails and we both tattooed, and he's more tattooed than me. But yeah, I definitely see the similarities, and I hear it, and it's why I don't do the black mask.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, it must have been just like, yeah. I mean, that is by far the best kick in wrestling, and yeah, so if else wasn't doing it, I couldn't fault you for being like, yeah, I see, I'm doing that move. That's fucking awesome. But yeah, it wasn't obviously meant, in a like any kind of besmirchment. Scotty's awesome. You're awesome.
Sure.
Yeah, it's just the not lookalike, but the similarities are as much as just down to appearance. It's not even like an in-ring thing. You're very different in ring.
It's like you saw both of us on like a poster or whatever, like, and you were just looking at strictly like thing. You go, oh, they're both tattooed, they both got long hair and what. Yeah, so I get it 100%.
Well, back to like the sort of character side of things then. Again, just I don't want to focus on Pursuit too much, but it always kind of comes up because it's just a very easy conversation, and it's kind of like it helps me to get the point that I'm making across, in the sense of like, yeah, when you're building character, having somebody to bounce ideas off of, somebody that helps to feed the creativity. Again, from everybody that I've spoken to, it just seems like Pursuit is a great place to bouncing ideas off people.
100%, man. Like when we first came back from lockdown and first like Pursuit was first starting off, that's when like the early iterations of the Goth Boy character were coming in. I was going to Liam with all these ideas. I was like, well, what if I did this? Or do you think it would work if I did this? And then, he's always happy to help. And for someone who his character likes to be more of a wrestler than character driven, he certainly knows what he's talking about. So, and Nathan too, like they just
larger than life, though, isn't he?
Yeah, they just seem to get like it, and then it'll be like, well, what if you? Because I'm very much focused on like visual. Like I got the cool jacket, and then I got the mask to come out with, and the gear, all that. I love doing all stuff like that. But then when it's like, oh, now your character's got to talk, or it's like, why does he walk like this? Why does he do? And then I'm like, Liam, help. But yeah, like just in terms of like just being able to bounce ideas off, and like the in-house shows, like that's what they're for. Obviously First Pursuit is the show that we're doing, but the little in-house shows, like that's what it's for. So people can go, hey Liam, I've got this character. Can we put him on a show, see how it works? And like from going like to old schools that I've trained at and stuff, like they never had that. Like they never had like a good solid training show that was filmed well. You got good footage that you could send out to promoters. You got feedback there. Like it's just honestly, it's like NXT, with the training facility, but in the UK, it's the coolest thing.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, I hear it from everybody that I speak to, and it just literally blows my mind. That such a place even exists, really, because I've been around for that long, talking to people. I've heard stories about just mattresses or crash mats on warehouse floors. That's how schools used to be. Mm-hmm. So it's just been we'll use that as a sidebar into the generic stuff. Have you always been a wrestling fan? Did you just kind of fall into love with it at a random age? What got you into wrestling? And where did you start? What was your first school and stuff?
Okay, man. I remember. I don't know if I remember it like fully because I'd have only been like 2 years old or whatever. But like my dad would watch like Rock and Austin and stuff like that, and then we always had the video games. Like Here Comes the Pain, and always stuff like that. Me and my older brother playing the SmackDown versus Raws and stuff like that. And then I think like most people went off it a little bit. I was like, yeah, okay, cool. Stopped watching in like 2008, and then didn't really like come back until like I think it was the same for like a few people. It was like The Shield like 2013, 14. I was like, oh, those guys are cool. I'll stick Raw on because I haven't watched it in a while. And then I was just hooked ever since. And I told my parents, I was like, look, I want to be a wrestler. And they were like, okay, well, we'll see what we can do. At the time, I was only like 13. So we were looking around at all these schools. There was like, we saw Grapple. And it said on the website you had to be 15. So I was like, okay, cool, whatever. So then I went and did a bunch of other things. Like, man, I did everything. Like, I did karate for a bit, then I did taekwondo, diving, like just anything I thought would help. And eventually I ended on like gymnastics and just like open sessions, learning how to flip, like being comfortable doing stuff like that. And that pretty much stuck until like the minute I turned 15, I was like, right, we're going wrestling. And I think they might have thought that they'd forgot that I'd forgot about it or whatever, but
nope.
Nah, minute like I was like, right, cool, let's go, let's try it out. And yeah, and then I started at Grapple Wrestling Leeds, and I trained there up until they stopped, basically, which was 2019, 2020. So I started when I was 15 and trained up until I was like 18, 19. So yeah, and then trained other little places in between. But like I was like, damn, I don't really have a school anymore. And then get a message from Nathan, who I met at Grapple, being like, hey, I'm setting up a school. What do you think? And like, obviously, I was like, yeah, man, let's go. 100%. I'm in. And Pursuit. So like, learned how to wrestle and stuff with like the basics with like Marty and stuff, but learned like everything that I'm thankful for at Pursuit.
And yeah, a lot of people obviously that at Pursuit, it's like obviously Grapple comes up a lot, you know, in my conversations.
Yeah, a lot of us Pursuit guys are Grapple originals.
Yeah, I think Grapple OGs. Obviously, I'm based in Leeds. I live in Morley, so I'm pretty close to where a lot of the Grapple guys used to, you know, train and stuff. So it's and like I said, when that closed, it kind of left a bit of a gap. And then Pursuit came across, and again, you know, a few people I've spoken to have said that they got approached, you know, about, you know, would you be interested? And it just seems like, you know, like it's like getting the golden ticket in Willy Wonka or something. It's like, yes, right, we're off.
Yeah, especially because I was there in like proper like construction type. Like it was just a wrestling ring in the middle of like an empty warehouse. And I remember I came down to like help, and I'd just be like running the ropes, and I hadn't run the ropes in like, God, it had been like 2 years because of COVID. And I was worried I'd like not gone off it, but I was like, do I still feel that the same way about this? And like, the minute I got back in that ring, I was like, yeah. And and then I found out, like, my dad told me that my great granddad was a ref for World of Sport, which blew my mind because I was like, well, damn. So it was like, so he was into the wrestling when it was like World of Sport. And then like my dad's dad didn't get involved, and then he didn't get involved. But then I brought it back. It's small world.
That's awesome, dude. Yeah, that's proper like, that's like keeping it in the family in the sense of it skipped a couple of generations, but it's back again. And World of Sport, that was, you know, that's huge. So, you know, to be involved in that in any way, shape, or form was, you know, is a massive achievement. So, yeah, man, I think it was definitely in the stars that at some point, you know, somebody was in your family was getting back involved.
Yeah, for sure, man. Like, I remember my dad being like, "Damn, okay, wrestling," because you know they're very lad like football, and I don't really care about it, to be honest.
But I mean, you mentioned there obviously, you know, like obviously you kind of wanted to do it when you're 13, wasn't able to. So you know, doing martial arts, doing gymnastics, you know, basically you're training your body ready for when you turn 15 to be like, right, you know, you know, your foot movement's going to be there. Like say the flipping aspect's going to be there. You basically you know, a wrestler that's not a wrestler yet?
Yeah, everything I could think of to help me. Like it was the reason I even chose to do drama as GCSE at school. Everything was anything I could help build that first solid base. Like just anything that I thought would help, and it did. It helped a lot because I mean I was a pretty reckless kid, so like going over like front flipping over your head and stuff was never a problem for me. But in terms of just like like your body movement and like spatial awareness and stuff, like learning how to flip certainly came into play when I was learning how to wrestle, and then doing like the karate and the Muay Thai and stuff like that helped with footwork. So, and then obviously drama helps with.
Oh yeah, character.
Exactly right. Yeah.
But yeah, when I was speaking, like I said, I spoke to Fusik, previously, and he sort of says, man, the transition between martial arts into wrestling, just the footwork alone, it is priceless. You can't, explain how much it helps being able just to know how to move your feet, making it look smooth, kind of thing.
Yeah, and like just like knowing like how your body moves and stuff, like that's pivotal because most people get in a wrestling ring and it's even a struggle to get into the wrestling ring because most people don't move like that, and it's always crazy to me because I hang around with wrestlers so much that like people don't like can't even do like a forward roll, or like a cartwheel is like insane to most people. And
I can do a forward roll. Yeah, I can't do a cartwheel.
There you go. That's fine.
I'm out. I still do a forward roll. Well, I do think that kind of gets harder with age because your brain's trained to be like, no, mate, what are you doing that for? That's stupid. You might hurt yourself.
Yeah.
Whereas if you start off at a young age, obviously, like you said, man, you're pretty reckless. You just go out there and you go and do it and you have fun. And the longer you keep doing it, obviously, just the easier it becomes, the more natural it becomes. And like I said, timeline-wise, man, you're still a pup. So, you've got years, cracking on. Obviously, like you said, you've already, ticked North off. So, yeah, over the next 12, 24 months, man, I would expect your radius of bookings to just ripple out, man. Obviously, you got like TNT over that side, GPW, you've obviously got North, you've got Rev Pro down south. I think you've got like, endless possibilities.
Well, thanks, man. I appreciate it, and I hope so because, like, I wanted to wrestle abroad at some point. That still hasn't happened, but the year's not over yet, so who knows? And obviously, like Rev Pro and Progress are, then the higher ups because they're the big ones.
Big boys now, I would say.
Even though like North is on par with them, really, in terms of status nowadays anyway. Like they just did the WXW crossover, that's going to be on the network, so that's crazy.
And when it's things like that where obviously they did it that way, so at some point you would think it would go the other way. And obviously I know some guys from Pursuit off to Mexico soon. So you guys are building relationships like in Mexico, and like I say, North's got the WXW thing. It's only going to be a matter of time, man, before you stamp in that passport, I would have thought. I know there's obviously mentioned it, a few people. There's a promotion in Denmark that seems to be doing a lot of exchanges at the minute with a few different promotions over here as well. So it kind of, I think there's a lot of talent exchange going on at the
minute. For sure, yeah.
Where would you? I mean, if you got the chance to go to Mexico, man, that would be mental.
Dude, yeah, I would have loved to go to Mexico. Like, lucha's not my style at all, but just like the history and stuff, like, would be insane. And to say you wrestled in Mexico, like just wild.
Dude, that's it. I mean, like when you're over there, I don't know, man. I can imagine, if you could try to find like a gothy mask.
Yeah.
Working as a gothy lucha, that'd be a boss.
Anything black with like some
black and purple
skull design, black and purple, anything, something cool like that.
That'd be awesome. Sure. Obviously, again, it's the first time they're doing that. I can't imagine it being the last time. I think it's going to go down really well. So I think, yeah, probably, 3 people have gone this time. Next time it might be 5 people.
Yeah.
And yeah, and as a Pursuit OG now as well. I put money on, like I say, man, I'll just put money on you stamping that passport at some point, over the next 12 months, quite easily. So,
I hope so, man. I hope so.
Yeah, so often we tick North, we talk Tidal, we talk True Grit, obviously Planet Wrestle. Anywhere else that you're looking at? Anywhere you want to sort of like, where do you want to see Joe Wade in the next few months?
I'd like to go back to Soft Pro. I did the second show, third, one of them. It was either the second or the third, and I got to wrestle Kelly Six, and that was really fun. And I really enjoyed the crowd. And like Manchester's great, so any chance to get to wrestle in like a big city like that was really good. You mentioned TNT as well. Yeah. That would be cool because they've got the GCW connection, and then like that would be mental. Yeah, and then just like Progress, Rev Pro, stuff like that. Like anyone will have me.
Yeah. Just come. So I mean, obviously, when I've spoken to people, they talk a lot about it's a networking game. It's sort of getting your face out there. Just going to shows, introducing yourself to people, shaking hands. I always kind of think that's like, obviously you go to a show, you get to watch wrestling, which is awesome.
Yeah.
But it must also be quite time consuming, and just kind of like getting in a car, going somewhere.
For sure, man. Yeah. And like I was a lot better at it when I was younger and coming up. Now I've not much free time. I try and get to as many as I can, and it's I'll be honest with you, man. It's a lot of Ed DMs. It's a lot of sure, we'll get you at some point. Yeah, you gotta have a strong head for it because your will can go. Like you can crack easily. Yeah. Like I've been thankful to have a busy couple of months past, but like I've had 2-3 months nothing. Like it can kill you.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, I can imagine it being like like so say you haven't got that kind of character to be. I mean, me, dude, I put some on social media if nobody likes it. I'm freaking, I put some artwork on there if nobody likes it. I'm like, oh fuck, I'm shit. What am I doing?
Yeah.
That kind of you've got to just keep faith in yourself and be like, look, yeah, okay, maybe it's low at the minute, but it's not me. It's maybe I think True Grit tweeted out something the other day, sort of saying like, if you're not getting booked, it's not because you're shit, or it's not because you're any good. It's just there's a wealth of talent out there at the minute, and a lot of promotions have their set guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And also it's like, well, but you're like, for you're sat there and you're like, I know I can kill this, and then you don't get anything. But it's like cliche, but it's a lot of ups and downs, isn't it? Like you go from like the highest highs to nothing, and it's same with everything. It's the same for like if you're in a band, you're looking for a venue to book you, or it's just something you gotta roll with the punches.
Got to keep plugging, got to stay strong, got to have belief in yourself.
Absolutely.
To quote one of the greatest films ever made, just keep swimming, just keep swimming, just keep swimming, and you'll get there eventually. So, but yeah, man, like I sort of said, I think you're getting established enough now where the name, your brand, even kind of called it a brand to somebody a few weeks ago. And I like the sound of it. And it kind of stuck, and I would class your character as a brand. Your brand's out there now. It's getting stronger, and it's just it's a snowball getting bigger and bigger and bigger as it rolls down the hill. But socials, socials must be a big part. Like you just said, it's DMs this, DMs that.
Yes, I'm really bad with socials. Like I'll because I don't like. I've got like 2 pages, like a private and then my wrestling one. And I'm never really posting anything unless I've done something big or whatever. And then I'll be like, shit, I should probably post my wrestling account. I haven't posted in a while, so I just have to keep on track of that, which is always good, you know, and you've got stuff to share, like, you know, being on the podcast, you know, it helps because my Twitter, like, if it's drying up or whatever, then, you know, there's something there. You know, you're on a show, retweet the show. It's just making sure that you're constantly being seen.
Yeah.
And like bookings can, sorry, man.
Oh, go on.
And yeah, and bookings can come from your social media presence. Like, it's crazy. Like, you know, the right person sees something at the right time, and yeah, crazy.
And hey, dude, man, like I said, I managed to get you into a tweet earlier with Al Snow. Al Snow liked it. Al Snow reposted it.
Yeah, look at that.
OVW, man. OVW, eyes on you. That's it. So, but yeah, I think, like you said, I think I can't remember, it was somebody I was talking to somebody last week, and I never thought about it that way. But yeah, like the whole social media side of things. Again, obviously, it's not overly key, you know, but it could be a deciding factor. Like if you've got 1,000 followers and the next man's got 500, and it's a toss up between the two of you, do you book the guy who's got 1,000 followers because it's going to get more eyes on the show?
Yeah, exactly right. And not only that, but it's like, you know, it's like fellow wrestlers or whatever. If I've been like, and like me and my friend, like we'll do it. Like, you know, you've been booked against someone, you're like, oh, I don't know who that is. First thing you do, I'll go see if he's got any matches. I'll see what his socials are like. Yeah. And if there's like a post from 2019, then you're like, okay, he doesn't really have much of a social media presence. So then you've nothing to go on. And like you said about the branding and stuff, like I always try and keep things the same. Like every photo's black and white, and then the caption's in the same font, so you know it's recognizable. It's me.
That's clever, man. Yeah, I clocked that. I thought it was a nice little touch. Like I say, it just makes it stand out. And it's unique, and yeah, it's automatically identifiable as us. Yes.
Yeah, and I'm never worried about captions because they're always just song titles. So there's always songs. You know, it's never thinking of like some stupid caption.
Yeah,
it's way easy. And I got that from Leon. So shout out Leon because I saw him post song lyrics as his thing, and I was like, yeah, that's just so easy.
Well, that's it. And then obviously, you know, it's got meaning to it, and like I sort of said, as long as if you enjoy music, obviously, yeah, you know, you've got a wealth of source material to tap into, kind of thing. So
exactly, and that alone in itself has got me, you know, recognition from people who aren't necessarily wrestling fans, because I use the hashtags, and it's like if I hashtag the music that I've used, you know, somebody's a fan of like Suicide Boys or whatever, and they come on, or like ICP, and they come on, and they're like, oh, you know, they're following that hashtag, there I am. They might not be a wrestling fan, but they've seen it, you know. So
that's what I was going to say as well, because yeah, again, it's like really diverse in the sense of, but I think there's a massive crossover appeal, obviously, with certain genres of music and you know, I don't think it's any coincidence that a lot of entrance themes or show themes have been sort of very alternative. So yeah, if you're hashtagging the bands, the songs, anything like that, I think you're going to get a lot of love from people who may not watch wrestling but kind of obviously know about it or respect it.
And wrestling itself is very alternative, isn't it? Like it's just like going to a gig, you know, and like we're all pretty weird, so.
I mean, yeah, I think it was Axel that just basically described, you know, they might have a little freak show, but Pursuit in itself is just a massive freak show of just misfits, you know, that all get together.
We're like, some are cooler than others, but we're all weirdos, we're all losers.
That's it. You're all kind of on the. It's not like you've got the jocks and the chess team kind of thing. I'd also say you just kind of, you're along the same sort of line. Because at the end of the day, you're all there because you love wrestling.
Exactly, and nobody normal wants to do this. So,
dude, I must admit, I've kind of, like I say, again, I've just, I wouldn't ever class myself as normal. I would love to have been, you know, done what you guys do. I'm just kind of living vicariously now, you know, just talking to you guys, going to shows, and just enjoying what you guys do, kind of thing. So, but yeah, that's the thing, you know. You're taking bumps, you're doing this to your body, but obviously, it must be like the biggest adrenaline fix you can get.
Yeah, man. Like, I haven't like been able to be in front of like huge crowds, but like when you're out there, like it's just there's nothing like it, you know, like center of attention on you in the middle of the ring, and it's just I don't really know how to describe it. I've been doing it since I was like quite young, so I guess I'm just used to it. But like the experience can be very overwhelming. You know, I remember going out for my first ever show ever, and there was probably only like 15 people there, but I was absolutely shitting it because everyone's staring at you, and it's yeah, exactly right. You mess up, and everyone can tell, and well, so yeah, there's not like it. Like the adrenaline rush is crazy.
I can imagine that's why it's so hard, for people to walk away, kind of thing. That's why you have you guys, obviously it won't be you for like another 40 years, kind of thing. But you got you guys in your late 50s, 60s, they're still like lacing up the boots because they just need that pop. They need that crowd. They need, X, Y, and Z. Actually, I've just watched Wrestlers today, and I think there's a line in that says there's not a needle big enough to give you an adrenaline hit like this. Just describing wrestling, kind of thing.
Yeah, and like I've heard it on like podcasts and stuff, and it's like if they could bottle it, like they could sell it for millions because the feeling's just insane.
But and obviously, the adrenaline helps with the pumps and stuff. I've just after all goods on the night. It's just the next morning when you wake up and you just like. Oh.
Yeah, we have a long running joke that like if you put, I guess, quote unquote, like a normal person into one of our bodies, like how they'd fare, they'd just be like, well, why is this hurt? And how have you been walking with this knee? And because we're all just broken. But yeah, like it was like the last title or like the title before that I was on or whatever. Like I proper messed up my ankle, but you just managed to keep on going. Like, I don't know what it is. And then you come backstage and you're still coming on, and then it's like drive home, and then I'm like, Jesus Christ, this really hurts.
Ice bath, ice pack, everything cold, just all over the shop. Just like I know a few guys, that sort of swear by just getting into a bath full of ice or a barrel full of ice or just something like try and numb it, reduce swelling, and just give you some sort of sense of normality.
Yeah, man. Like I'm 22 now. I will be 23, and my body's probably not that. It's like similar to someone who's like 50 years old or just broken and.
But
I'm still going. So good.
Exactly, man. And obviously, you love it and you want to have it any other way, kind of thing. So, dude, so I was trying to figure out earlier when you sort of said, I was trying to piece it together in my head and talk to you at the same time. But so, you kind of got into the business when you was 15. You did grapple for 3 or 4 years, 2 years after COVID, blah blah blah. So obviously, 22, dude. I mean, you're still a pup, and like I said, you established on the UK scene at 22, dude.
Mm-hmm.
That's impressive.
I know, like it's way better than some. Like some people start at like 22, right? And then obviously you've got, like his name will pop up a lot because he's hella famous. But Leon, who's conquering the world, and I've known him since he was like, I first met him when he was like 14. So
like, he's 18 now, and
it's insane.
That's it. I mean,
so I'm like jealous of that, but then I've got people like who started when they were like 20, and they're like, well, I wish I started when I was 50, but yeah.
Leon started when he was 10, didn't he, or something I've heard?
Yeah, something ridiculous.
Just like, that's what we do. Nearly got a decade of experience, and it's fucking 18, for God's sake. It's mental. But yeah, that's what I like as well about, obviously, again, pulling it back to the pursuit. But you guys are all super fucking supportive of each other. Like sort of said, when somebody's doing well, it doesn't seem to be like there's no green-eyed monster. There's no gnarliness. It's just kind of like, what? Kudos, mate. Yeah, well fucking done.
Yeah, you'll see us all share, posts or whatever. And Pursuit are quite good for that. Sharing everyone's achievements. It's not just always Leon.
Oh that's what I mean. But it's obviously we were just talking about him. But I mean, obviously, like say they're bigging up, like Kemper going to Mexico.
Exactly right. Yeah.
time you guys do X, Y, and Z. You know, everybody turning, you know, absolutely smashing it at Planet Wrestle. Anytime you guys, you know, post that you're on another show, another promotion show, yeah, they are very quick to repost it and just to get eyes, not just on the promotion, but it's eyes on you guys.
Exactly right. Me and Jack Marshall are going to Bridge Pro Wrestling in October, and you know that's something that and Natalie Sykes as well. You know, so that's good for Pursuit because you know it's a new company, and you know we've already got guys on there. So, and it's just that foot in the door. It's like, hey, if these guys are at Pursuit, then we should probably check out who else is at the school, and you know, and like you said earlier, we seem to be everywhere. You go to a show in the UK, and there's probably someone from Pursuit on there.
Yeah. I think ages ago, before I even started talking to you guys, I was kind of like, I said, yeah, you know, like it seems to be like most shows I go to at the minute, 87% of people, you know, are training out or have been through Pursuit stores, kind of things, like, you know, Yetistas, Fusiks, you know, they're not OG Pursuit or like always there, but they have been there, and I would class them as, you know, Pursuit guys.
For sure. And like we have guys that are, like you say, like aren't there all the time, but you know, pop down every now and then, like in Serico, pop down sometimes. Nash as well, you know, come down. G Money, he's down quite a lot. Yeah, and it's just great to see because you know those guys and Lycos 2 and Lycos 1 as well. Like they'll come down sometimes, and it's really good for, you know, guys who are just starting and stuff to see these guys who have been there and, you know, doing it.
What's Nash like in training? I can't imagine anybody being able to do anything while Nash is in training.
He's just, the character you see is what he's like all the time. I mean, we'll go to McDonald's after the show, and he's still just doing stupid shit. He's great. I love him so much.
We had him on a show a while ago. Me and James Carr, we're reviewing pay-per-views from '97, like WWF, WCW kind of thing, and it was WrestleMania 13. So I was like, yo, we'll have a little Mania party. So I invited like a guy called Ryan Palmer, who's worked the Left Side OG, and I was like, right, I'm going to ask Nash because I've known him for years as well, kind of thing. And I was just like, let's get him involved. Obviously, him and JC will have a bit of banter. And I was just like, they're like, oh, what the fuck have I done? Because like we review the matches, you know, we get our Bill Meltz one of like, oh, 4 stars, 5 stars, 3 stars. We're rating the matches, and fucking Nash is just coming out with some absolute bollocks. You know, his review system was just, it was the pedigree chumps. Like for a Triple H match, I was like, oh, fuck's sake. So
he's great.
I can imagine. He's awesome. We love Nash. But yeah, I can just imagine training sessions just being like a double-edged sword where you're just like, fuck's sake, you know, I do want to train, but
I don't think I've ever seen him take anything seriously.
But yeah, obviously, all that guys. You say, you're in Serico, absolutely boss. What Tidal, what he's doing at True Grit is awesome. Dude, I just, like I said, you know, you've got all these promotions popping up. You've got new promotions that you guys are already turning up on. Man, you know, I think, you know, everything's just 5 by 5 at the minute for you guys. So if anybody's watching this who has not seen you before, you know, obviously you will very, very fucking soon.
Honestly, and you know, just
nothing else to say, dude. It's just
I had something else, but it's gone now.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
If it comes back, dude, obviously, you know, we'll do you can come back on when you stamp that passport, and we can talk about your journeys abroad and souvenirs and finding a Goth Boy lucha mask and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. When I go to Mexico and
set it up. Do you want to plug your socials on here? Obviously, man, get eyes on the prize. Obviously, I'll tag you in everything that I put on socials anyway. But if anybody misses that, where can they find you?
Yeah, of course. So you can find me on Twitter or X, Joe Wade UK, and on Instagram at Joe Wade _UK. I think that's right. Yeah, one of them. If you type in Joe Wade, it'll probably show up.
Awesome. Yeah, Insta. I ain't calling it X, man. I refuse to call it X. So it's Twitter.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
we'll
Twitter.
stay retro, man. We'll stay retro. It's Twitter.
For sure.
Obviously, like I said, I'll tag you in this stuff. Yeah. Also, just go on Pursuit's YouTube page. Look at the in-house shows.
TikTok, yeah, all that.
As well, True Grit as well. Because obviously, if you want to see Joe do his single stuff, check out the Pursuit YouTube page. If you want to see him in, like I sort of said, one of the best tag teams in the UK at the minute, go check out True Grit's YouTube page. Dude, it's been an it's just been awesome. Thoroughly enjoyed talking to you, dude.
You too, man. Pleasure.
Yeah, we're good. Obviously, hit like, hit subscribe, do the sharing thing, just do the normal social media bollocks that you do. Like us, subscribe to us, retweet us, and we will see you again very, very soon.